The story of Cesar Milan is often seen as a typical rags-to-riches tale about a young man from Mexico crossing the border in pursuit of the American dream. While that's more or less how things happened, the reality of Milan's eventful life is a little more complicated. While Milan became known to millions of viewers worldwide as the dog whisperer, his off-camera life has been anything but quiet. He was bullied for his love of dogs. Milan grew up on his grandfather's farm in Sinaloa in northwestern Mexico. During this time, he became accustomed to working with a variety of animals, though he claims to have had a natural way with dogs from a very young age. This connection with canines was so strong that Milan found himself being followed by dogs every time he left his home, a fact that didn't go unnoticed by the other kids. He was constantly teased by his peers, who started calling him El Perrero, which, according to Milan, roughly translates to the dirty dog boy. Milan refused to let bullying change his mind about his love of dogs. Instead, he concentrated on making his dream a reality from a young age. By the time he was 13 years old, he had laid out plans to become the best dog trainer in the world, and he'd decided that the best place to begin his takeover was the US. Inspired by the immaculately well-trained performing dogs he saw in TV reruns of Lassie and the Adventures of Rin Tin Tin, Milan set his sights on Hollywood, convinced his talents would be most welcome there. He entered the US illegally. In 1991, Milan made his way from his home to a Tijuana bus station with $100 to his name, seeking transportation across the border. When he finally found a way out of Mexico via a hole in the border fence, he was forced to pay $100, every cent he had, in order to pass through. Milan entered the United States with no money, no friends, little to no knowledge of the English language, and nowhere to live. He spent his early days in America living homeless on the streets of San Diego, sleeping under a freeway and surviving on nothing but convenience store hot dogs. Milan recalled that he could get 2 hot dogs for 99 cents at the time, meaning all he had to do to survive was somehow make $1 a day. Many hot dogs later, he managed to land his first real job stateside. He found work as a dog groomer, using the first English sentence he ever learned.
I learned to say, "Do you have application for work?" That was the first sentence I'm going to learn.
Milan managed to arrange some part-time hours in a local dog groomer's office. The owners were instantly impressed with his assertive handling of larger, aggressive dogs that had previously been impossible to control. Milan saw the value in this, and after moving to Inglewood, decided to start charging for a group dog walking service. He quickly attracted attention with his unusual and very much illegal style of walking his group off-leash, quickly earning a reputation as the Mexican guy who can walk a pack of dogs. Some of his first clients were Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, who paid for Milan to have a year of English language lessons. His reputation grew quickly. Milan and his dog walking business spread like wildfire by word of mouth, and he eventually earned enough money to open his dog psychology center in South Central Los Angeles. His success at rehabilitating dogs with particularly troublesome pasts led to him being profiled in a 2002 edition of the LA Times, and the reaction was huge. The story led a string of producers to his door hoping to create a new TV show highlighting Milan's techniques, and the trainer signed on to front Dog Whisperer with Cesar Milan soon after. The National Geographic Channel ended up picking up the show for 26 episodes after Animal Planet refused to commit beyond a pilot. He's been involved in a number of lawsuits. Things weren't all sunshine and rainbows for Milan, however.
It's all right, it's all right.
The Dog Whisperer star was the subject of 2 lawsuits in a single week in 2006, the first involving his former publicist Makita Smith and her partner Foster Corder. The couple claimed that they had come up with the name Dog Whisperer while in discussion with Milan. After they received no recognition of their contribution, they decided to sue the National Geographic Channel, asking for $5 million in damages. Milan was in hot water again days later when 8 Simple Rules producer Floaty Suarez claimed that his 5-year-old Labrador Retriever Gator was subjected to inhumane treatment at the celebrity trainer's facility. Suarez's lawsuit stated the Gator was covered with bruises and gasping for breath after being forced to run on a treadmill. The producer went on to describe how a choke chain had caused damage to Gator's esophagus and that surgery was needed to correct it, with the vet's bills totaling more than $25,000. He has been accused of animal cruelty.
Cesar Milan, aka the Dog Whisperer, is under fire for, of all things, animal cruelty.
The incident with Gator the Labrador is not the only allegation of animal cruelty Milan has faced. American Humane, the oldest national organization specializing in the protection of animals, revealed they had sent a letter to the National Geographic Channel in 2006. The letter in question expressed outrage about the inhumane and potentially harmful tactics employed on dog whisperer with Cesar Milan. Other critics of Milan's methods include certified animal behavior consultant and pet journalist Steve Dale, who refers to Milan as the dog screamer, along with British television personality Alan Titchmarsh, who berated Milan over his barbaric techniques during an interview on his afternoon TV show. He hit hard times in 2010. 2010 was a terrible year for Milan, starting off in the worst possible way when his sidekick Daddy died of cancer at the age of 16.
He held me for 16 years. And I don't think that I did much for him as much as he did for me.
The gentle giant whom he'd adopted from rapper Redman was not just Milan's assistant on the show, he was his best friend off camera. Sadly, Milan barely had time to mourn the loss when he was hit with more bad news. The following month, his wife of 16 years informed him she had filed for divorce. Milan was forced to assess his finances, and that was when the third blow came. He soon realized that despite being one of the most recognizable TV personalities in America, he'd made a series of bad business decisions that had left him with little to show for his nationwide fame. He tried to end it all. In 2012, Milan opened up about the full extent of what he'd gone through 2 years earlier. He claimed he'd lost his source of calmness when his beloved dog Daddy died, and the added pressure of his divorce and financial woes sent him into a downward spiral of depression. The famous trainer got to the point where he didn't want to be alive anymore, taking what he described as a whole bunch of pills and hoping not to wake up. Fortunately for Milan, his sons discovered him before it was too late and he was rushed to the hospital. He later talked about how regaining consciousness in a ward full of patients who loved his show helped him to get back on track with his life. He used his own methods to bounce back. Milan was offered antidepressants after he failed to take his own life, though he decided that the best way to heal was to practice what he preached. In place of pills, Milan devised a rehabilitation schedule based on his knowledge of pack life, using exercise, discipline, and affection to conquer his depression. And it seems to have worked wonders. His path led him to new partner Jahaira Dar, whom Milan credits as being instrumental in his recovery, along with a series of new opportunities in television. He was soon back on small screens everywhere in Cesar Milan's The Leader of the Pack and Cesar 911. He's even branched out to younger audiences, working alongside his son Calvin in Nickelodeon's live-action series Mutt and Stuff. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel, plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.